I was going to do like 3 reasons I regret, but I don't know how many reasons why. But I'm going to get right started. I wasn't a virgin when I got married. I got married at 21, and I lost my virginity. I didn't lose it. I gave it away. I was willingly giving my virginity away, Lord. Um, and I regret it. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, I'm going to tell you why I regret it. The first reason is I didn't need to lose my virginity. Okay, I lost my virginity or gave it away trying to keep up with my friends and family. Okay, my brother, my cousins, what I thought my friends were doing. Wasn't even really me, but I was so busy trying to be like everybody else that I was like, man, this is what everybody else is doing. This is what I should be doing. And I didn't want to. Sometimes you don't realize the consequences that everybody else gets. You ain't really ready for all those consequences either. But we be so busy just trying to be like everybody else that it really wasn't even me. I never was no player. Everybody was trying to be a player, trying to juggle 5 and 6 girlfriends. It never was me. I was so busy trying to be, and it wasn't even peer pressure because they weren't even saying like, Kev, you should do this. I was just like, this is what I should do because this is what they're doing. Hey man, this is my life. I was trying to be like my brother, and he wasn't saying be like me. He was saying don't be like me. But I still wanted to do it, man. I was just like, man, I want to do this. I want to be like these people. I want to have sex. I want to know what it feels like. I want to do all this stuff. But it wasn't even really me. Okay? It was just, Jason's older. It was just me trying to be who I thought I needed to be instead of just being who I really was. And I'm just a guy. I'm just a one-woman man. I've been that way my whole life. But I didn't feel comfortable enough being right because everybody else was being wrong. I didn't feel comfortable enough being who I really was. No, I didn't have kids early. Thank God for grace. I was dumb, but I wasn't stupid. Okay? I wasn't careless. I knew I was doing wrong, but I knew wrong enough was wrong. I ain't want no kids that way. Hey, man, my brother had a kid at 16. I was like, I am cool off of that. I'm going to be this, but I ain't going to be that. Amen? Okay? So that's the first reason, is because I was trying to be something I wasn't. And see, that's the thing about us sometimes. We try to be something we ain't. But then we deal with the consequences of who we were trying to be. You got the consequences of the person you wasn't even really trying to be the whole time. Like, at least if you're getting the consequences of a criminal, at least be a criminal. But don't be hanging out with criminals and you still got to go to jail and you wasn't even about that life like that. Like, why I got to go to jail? I was just with them. They was in the streets, but I was just with them. Now I got to go to jail? Nah, you about that life? You about that whole life. So that's the real first reason I regret not being a virgin when I was married, because I wasn't even about that life. Here's the funny thing about it. I thought all my homies at school were virgins. I mean, I thought they weren't virgins. I was like, man, ain't nobody no virgin. Ain't nobody no virgin. We all out here doing this. We was all lying to each other, right? So then when I told them, like, yo, I ain't no virgin, it was like, no, me neither. And I was like, no, bro, it was me and this girl. And it was like, I was really a virgin still. And my other boys was like, I was really a virgin still. Me too. All my friends at high school were still really virgins. And they didn't tell me until I was the only one. I was like, you mean I'm the only one out here really being about this life? We all was lying? Like, we all was out here not doing it? Oh, yeah. They was like, you really did that? Nah, man, you're crazy. I don't even know no girls like that. I was like, what? What? And I was the only one out there messing up, trying to be something I wasn't. And that's really the thing that bothers me. I wasn't comfortable enough in my skin to be like, I'm cool, man. I ain't even about that. Like, I did it for everything else. Drugs. I got offered drugs and weed and alcohol, and I was like, I am cool. I'm an athlete. I'm not trying to smoke my lungs up. I'm not trying to do none of that. But for sex, I was like, oh yeah, I'm out here. Had me out here all alone. Thought I was somebody else. Oh yeah, I got played. I played myself. Really, yeah. More of the story, be you. It's okay to be saved and be completely you. All right, so that's the first reason. Second reason I regret not being a virgin when I got married is because I had a pregnancy scare when I was 15. And the woman was less than delightful. She was, I've said it before, she was a gargoyle-ish. You know the show Blackish? She was gargoyle-ish. She was just like, she was not a very attractive. Melissa's really the only really attractive woman I've ever been able to wrangle. if we just keeping it 100. She was, by the grace of God, she looked like the personification of sin. That's the way I would put it. Like if sin was a human, she was sinful, wretch, undone. Okay? I hope she's not watching too. I'm not going to name her. She don't know who she was. But she was, she was a Rottweiler. She was a rot. She would protect your house. Amen. She would protect your house. One time I was walking with her. This is before social media, by the grace of God. One time I was walking with her in the mall on her side of town. We couldn't walk around on my side of town. I was walking with her in the mall. And I saw some of my homies from the basketball team, and I just went on the other side of the mall. And I was like, oh, man, I'm not over here with her. She was insidious. Yeah, she looked like her name was Gretchen. Oh, yeah, I was a douche. I was a terrible person before I found God. Y'all think I'm nice now, but I was a terrible person. I walked on the other side of the mall, and I was like, she ain't going to know this. She knew. She was like, man, what happened? What was that? I was like, oh, man, you know, those guys, they wanted to fight me, so I didn't want to bump into them. I don't think she believed it, but anyway, so she was, she was terrible. She was there. No, there wasn't no Black Panther. I was 15. Yeah, I was 15. She was just like if her name was something, it'd be, her name would be Snarl. Why did I sleep with her? Because men don't care. If it got a pink hole, we'll take it. It all looks the same in the dark. Pink holes is a pink hole. Beautiful or ugly. In the dark, it's all the same. Look, man, most men are lying to you about the women they've been with. Because most men ugly too. In the dark, it's all dark. So, yeah, that's why. I'll be honest. Melissa's the first good-looking woman I was with. Okay? I was knocking down high-quality 2s and 3s. Taking what the defense gave me. I was a bad guy, okay? I was just taking what was easy and available. All right? It's just true. It's just true. That's who I was. I wasn't always saved. I wasn't always a good guy. I had to learn to be good. I had to get something valuable and worthy and worth being good. Like Melissa. Before, I was just out here being reckless. In the dark, taking what I could get. So anyway, this less than qualified woman was, she was like, I'm late. And I was like, what do you mean? What time is it? She's like, no, I'm late. Like, no, where you got to go? She's like, no, I'm that kind of late. And I was just like, oh, no, God, no, please. I just started praying right there. God, please, 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 please. Then you look at her in the light, and I was just like, oh. And I was 15, man. I was broke, poor. She was 15. We're both 15. Just broke, poor, and I was like, man. And I should have known, because my brother went through that, and he was like, don't be like me. And I did use protection. That's what I'm saying. I was never. The only time I was unprotected was when I was married. And we thank God for grace. Did it, both. So yeah. So she said she was pregnant, and I was like, I couldn't even get a job at Whataburger. That's how dumb I was. When I applied for Whataburger, and they know you ask, like, what's your availability? I put Monday, 2 to 3:30, Tuesday, 3:15 to 4:15, Wednesday, 4 to 6. I didn't really want to work that many hours, so I just put that on my application. I didn't know you get the job and then tell them what you really want to work. You just put open. At the time, I was trying to pick my schedule. Saturday, nah, I'm cool. I don't want to work Saturday. Sunday, I'm off. I put my application in for 7 hours a week. Like, yeah, let me get that cool little 7. I just need about, and minimum wage is like $5. I just need like $45 a check. I need about $45 a check. Oh, we get paid every 2 weeks. Let me get $110. I didn't know. I was dumb. I'm like, why they never called me? My brother had to tell me, like, yo, you idiot. You don't put the schedule you want to work. You just got to put open and let them schedule you. And I was like, but what if they schedule me on Friday night? I want to go out. But I didn't know. So that's neither here nor there. So anyway, I had a pregnancy scare, and I prayed heaven down. Father God, please, if you still got a room for a wretch like me, God, amazing grace, how sweet the sound. that saved a wretch like me. I'm going to talk about abstinence in a second. Father God, please. The Amalekites and the Ananites are in here and they're trying to destroy me, God. I prayed so much. And then one day she was like, oh, I drank a lot of vinegar, so I lost the baby. And I was like, I don't want to celebrate, but inside I am doing backflips. I am so doing backflips. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Oh, Father, I love you. And here's the funny thing. After that, I went and did it again. And ain't that just like us in sin? God gets us out of sin and we go right back in. No, I didn't tell my parents. My mom probably still don't know. I didn't tell my mom. I was terrified. We go right back into sin. We'd be apologizing to God during sex. Like, God, I shouldn't even be doing this. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, God. After this, for real, God. After this, I am done. Cold turkey, I am done. Never no more. Then you stop one more time. God, I don't know how I keep being here. I'm not supposed to be here, but I'm here. Please, after this, God. Oh man, God, I'm done. I am done. Go right back. God, help me. Turn my phone off. Same gremlin, yes. Same gremlin. Actually, what helped me is we moved from El Paso. Oh, I'm going to talk about that, Crystal. She said, what was my wife's initial reaction? She almost didn't want to date me. Melissa didn't want to date me at first because she thought I was a fisherman because I was out here trying to catch everybody left and right. And she didn't want to, she was like, man, I'm not really trying to be with somebody like that. And I wasn't having sex when I moved to Washington. I was like, I swore it off. And I didn't. But she was like, I don't really want to be with you. And before we got married, I had to tell her everything. I didn't have to, but I told her everything. And she was mad for a cool 3 to 5 days, 3 to 5 business days. And a week can happen. Cool 3 to 5 business days. So it was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So by next Wednesday, she was like, because I just didn't want her. I didn't want to ever go back to El Paso and bump into a girl and be like, oh, you done got married now. Oh, man. Look at you now. I didn't want that to happen. I told her everything. So I regret having a potential pregnancy with a woman I barely knew, man. I didn't want her to be my mom. Like, we know the result of sex can be pregnancy. Even with a pill and a patch and a condom and all that stuff, we know the potential could be. And I didn't want to have no kid. I'm 32. I would have a 17-year-old right now. I don't want that baby mom. I didn't even like her enough to be telling anybody I was with her. I didn't tell my brother. I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell nobody. So we end up getting kids with people we ain't even comfortable showing to our mom. Like, how you ain't even invite her to Thanksgiving. You gonna have a baby with her? Yeah, and that's it, Coach Tracy Reddy. She said it's disappointing for a woman to save herself for men who are sleeping around. That's exactly what Melissa had to deal with. And I apologize to her. I didn't know Melissa at the time I was in sin. I didn't know Melissa at that time. But once I knew her, I was really sorry. So that's the second thing. The first thing is that it really wasn't me. The second thing is that I had a pregnancy scare with a woman that nobody knew I was dating. The third thing is when, at least for me, I don't know about y'all, but at least for me, sex outside of marriage comes with a lot of condemnation. You be feeling bad when you're on your way to do it, feeling bad when you're going to do it, feeling bad after you do it, just feeling bad all the time. I'm sad, I'm mad, the devil got me again. Dang, man, I slipped, I'm no good, I can't use my gift. Man, gosh, like you can't even enjoy it really because you just be feeling so bad. Like if you're all the way out in the world, you're like, oh yeah. But if you're trying to live right and you fall, you be like, man, why do I keep doing this, man? I be feeling so bad. And that condemnation makes it nearly unenjoyable. You just be in there like, man, I shouldn't be doing this. But when you're married, oh, bashe, oh, my God, And not to mention, you worried about her getting pregnant. You worried about STDs. Did the condom slip off? Did she poke a hole in the condom? Is she really on the pill? I mean, all that. You just be feeling bad. And the devil just uses that against you. Because I didn't feel like playing the drums. I was like, man, I ain't really even worthy to, be on the drums. I ain't really worthy to be in the choir. And that's really what the devil wants you to do. He wants you to feel like you ain't worthy enough to do anything. You just like, man, you shouldn't even be up here. You know you're wrong. Sitting up in here singing in this choir, knowing what you was doing last night. And then that starts to get on you like, man, he's right. Or you don't even be talking to the devil. You be like, man, I don't really deserve to be up here. You shouldn't even really be going to church. And you'd be like, man, I don't know why I'm at church. I'm going to do wrong anyway. Yeah, I sat myself down. And then the altar call be coming up and they be talking to you. You was out there sinning last night. You be like, God, dog, you know what I was doing. You need to come up to the altar. But you don't want to come up to the altar because you know people are already thinking about you. Like, I know what he's going up there for. And you don't want them to know. You don't want them to be right. So you rather not let people have something on you than go up and just get help. The biggest thing, and people might not even be thinking about you, but the thought that people are thinking about you will have you sit right in your seat. And they might be having their eyes closed. Let them think what they want. You wouldn't have pneumonia and be like, he going up there to the hospital because he got pneumonia. Yeah, because I don't want to be sick. Oh, skipping communion. Oh, my gosh. Don't you take communion. You're going to have somebody dead. So we be sitting there in the church knowing I need to get prayer, knowing I need to cry. Just need to have a good cry so you can be right again. But we won't do it because we ain't nobody else going up on the altar but us. We don't want nobody looking at us, our friends pointing at us. The person sometimes we sinning with is in church. Oh, you went up to the altar? Yeah, I did. Because I'm sick of being where I'm at. I want to do better. I want to be right. Talking about you don't want a prophet calling you out. All types of stuff. So, yeah. And so that condemnation was just a killer. Like, that's just like, man, you don't want to be right. You don't want to be right. You can't even enjoy it good. That condemnation is like having to swim with a t-shirt on. Like you swimming, but that t-shirt is soggy. It don't feel good. That's what we used to have to do in the apostolic church. We had to swim with t-shirts on because they didn't want nobody having sex. We was having sex anyway. Take the t-shirt off for sex. So yeah, that thing is, that condemnation is real. The next thing is you pick up bad habits when you have sex before marriage because you're trying to please this one with this sexual thing, this one with this thing, this one with this thing. Then you finally get married. You're trying to use old stuff on your wife or husband. You don't call them soul ties stuff. And I don't know if y'all think soul ties is fake. I think it's real. You done got a little piece of everybody, and now you trying stuff on them. Man, don't take that old sin when you was in sin and try to bring that into your marriage. Oh, I tried this. It was working on old girl. It was working on old guy. And you're going to take that into your marriage and wondering why it ain't working. Why this ain't working on you? Because this is your wife. This ain't, oh, girl. You got to undo all these bad habits. I was trying to learn about sex before marriage when it's designed for you to learn with the person. Because you're learning what works for them, not just what works. I was watching porn with my friends, reading porn magazines, reading Maxim magazines, just trying to prepare for the day and didn't realize I was preparing for my own destruction. All I was doing was setting myself up to have a difficult time. Learning from porn and Maxim magazine and Playboy magazine. And boy, I was just trying to, all I did was learn all types of wrong stuff. Oh, and I didn't even think about comparing your spouse to anyone. We'd be like, oh, I don't want to be getting married and the sex is whack. So you having a whole bunch of unprotected sex just so you'll be good at sex. And now you're good at sex, and now you are loose as notebook paper. Your husband is falling inside. He's, whoa, God, whoa, man. Men too, whoring around, trying to be prepared, studying for the wrong test. Studying for the wrong test. Men out here bumped up, burned up, you all bumpy and burning. They call you Bumpy Burnt Johnson. Peeing hard, your pee hurts, like razors are coming out of it. Yeah, if we were pure, when it was time to get married, you wouldn't know nothing. You wouldn't know what short is, long is. You wouldn't know what big is, small is. I thank God for Grace. Melissa has had no other partners. I'm the best, the excellence of execution. And I thank God. Luckily, I wasn't out in the world too long. I really just had one bad summer. I had the summer of 99, 98. Summer of 98 or 99. I don't know. Cash Money Records taking over for the 99 to 2000. It was 99. Summer of 99, I was out here being a devil. A whore. So yeah, the thing about marriage, what I realized, and I didn't realize this till I got married, and honestly, this would have helped me more than a lot of stuff. If someone would have told me that when you have sex before marriage, you are ruining the sexual experience that you can have with your wife or husband, that would have made a lot more sense to me than just take a cold shower, which is pretty much what I got told. Take a cold shower and pray. If somebody would have said, look, all the stuff you're going to have, all the stuff you're going to do, it's just going to make it harder for you to enjoy with your wife. If you would save yourself, you would enjoy sex with your wife more. That would have been something that I would have been like, man, I can actually see that. And I couldn't see that until I got married. Once I got married, I was like, I wish I didn't have these habits. I wish I just had a clean slate. Because marriage is designed for two people to be virgins, and then y'all both get together and figure out each other and what they like. And it would be much easier if we didn't have a whole bunch of stuff to undo. We got all this stuff to undo, and then we can learn about each other. So I wish someone would have just sat me down and been like that. Forsett was a virgin. Look at that. Yeah. So that's really what hurt me, is that I ruined myself. I ruined that chance for myself without even giving myself a chance. And that was like, man, I was trying to make sure I didn't get embarrassed when I got married and embarrassed myself and made it harder for myself to enjoy marriage. It took me a cool year or two. Luckily, when I got married, I had been celibate I stopped having sex at 15. I stopped at 15, and I didn't have sex again until I was 21 and married. So, luckily, I didn't have 10, 15, 20. But some of us out here, we've been out here for a long time. We've been out here for a long time, and it's been cold. And we've just been tired of being cold. Sometimes that loneliness will get you, man. It ain't even that you want to have sex. There's two things that'll get you: loneliness, and especially for women, the thought that you might lose the man if you don't give him some will just make you give it up and you don't even want to. I don't know if that's true for men as much, but for women, that thought of just like, man, even he's saved, you just like, man, that loneliness, that's what Netflix and chill came from. People don't want to be lonely. Yeah. Sheldon John said, I stopped today. No, you don't want that loneliness could do. Because here's the thing about sex. Sex will distort the truth about a person and the truth about your relationship. When you're having sex, sex is the greatest smokescreen the devil has ever created. Sex will have you, especially good sex, it'll have you making all kinds of excuses and, oh man, he's right. He's doing this. Well, he ain't got no job. He or she. I just say the stuff that goes with my sex, my gender. But man, he cool. But man, I just don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be alone. Well, at least he's this. At least he's that. No, the devil didn't create it. He just distorted sex. And that's really where the church has people messed up. By trying to get people to be virgins, we just don't tell them nothing, or we tell them it's bad. It's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. If we would tell people sex is healthy and it's amazing when done right when you're married, when done wrong, it can have negative consequences and it can mess things up for you, then it's like, oh, okay, I can see it. It's not bad, it's not wrong. It's just not right under wrong circumstances. Just like driving a car. There's nothing wrong with driving a car. It's not bad to drive a car. But if my 8-year-old son goes out and drives a car without a license, it can be very dangerous for him, and he could hurt himself or hurt somebody else. So you have to wait until you're able and prepared and you can understand, you have a maturity level to be able to drive a car. And that's the same thing with sex. There's nothing wrong or bad about it. It's amazing. It's amazing when done right. And it's amazing when there ain't no condemnation. First time I had sex when I was married, and I was just like, I know she ain't got no STD, and I don't mind if she gets pregnant. Matter of fact, I hope she gets pregnant. I hope that jumper is hidden. I hope I'm out here. I hope I can finish with the left. I hope my jumper is wet. There was such a relief. I mean, such a relief. Yeah, my brother said sex distorts your views of a person. Same way alcohol. Alcohol make you think you're dancing better than you're really dancing. Sex will make you think that person is better than they really are, or better for you than they really are. Sex will do it all day long. Releasing oxytocin and endorphins make you crave them. You start thinking about them. You ain't been thinking about them for a while. Now you start thinking about them, wondering what they're up to. Come on, man. It's real out in these streets. So I'm going to backtrack and go back over because the connection was bad. The first reason is I really wasn't a person who wanted to have sex. Second reason was, I think I'm forgetting it, but there's a lot of condemnation in sex. Third reason is I could have saved myself for marriage and enjoyed sex with my wife more. Fourth reason was a pregnancy. And the fifth reason was I misgave it to, it messed up my, it took a while to undo my wrong to when I finally did get married. And people are like, oh, if the sex ain't right, I can't be married, so I got to test it out before. Okay, test it out if you want. Test it out. It's going to test you out. It's going to test you out. Because the thing is, if you love and care for someone and you want the best for them and you want your life, you want to enjoy them, you want them to enjoy them, you want to please them and all that stuff, then you will have an amazing sex life. If you just want to have great sex with a person, that doesn't mean you're going to have a great marriage. Great sex and a great marriage are two different things on two different playing fields. Great sex comes from love, from lack of condemnation, from trust, from freedom, which you get all that in marriage. You get all that in marriage. And once you get married, then you can have the freedom of true sex. 2 is when the connection's bad. I don't know why the connection's bad. I'm at home and I'm on Wi-Fi, but it is spinning around. So I don't know. I don't know what else to do. Wi-Fi tripping. So somebody asked a question that I wanted to answer. Oh, what did the church teach me about abstinence? The church taught me to pray and wait and take a cold shower. And that sex was wrong and sex was bad. And I don't fault the church because it's really up to it's really your parents. Your parents should be more responsible than the church. The church should reinforce what your parents are already teaching you. The church shouldn't be responsible for teaching you something that your parents aren't even teaching you. My parents didn't talk to me about sex either. I was out here just alone, relying on my friends. And if your parents don't talk to you, then you're going to get your information from movies and your friends. And that's where I got my information from. And movies and my friends were not saved. So if my parents who were saved and my church, if my parents had set the foundation and talked to me, then the church could reinforce the foundation. But it shouldn't be expected of the church to reinforce a foundation that your parents haven't even set. So, and I don't blame my parents. They probably didn't know much else either. But, you know, I don't know what's wrong with the connection. So, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Don't do what we did. All right. Well, the connection is the connection bad? Or I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of 2s. I don't know what else to say. It's gone. Are we back? Yeah. Okay. Everybody's saying they were scared to have sex, but guess what? That scared stuff ain't gonna hold you forever. Being scared of something ain't gonna hold you forever. Because you can't scare somebody into living right. You can't scare somebody into serving God. People can preach fire and brimstone, but you don't serve Jesus and you don't live right because you're afraid. You serve Jesus and you live right because you love him and you want to do the right thing. And if we could understand that, then we could be all right. I saw 2 questions that I wanted to answer, but they were going too fast. Yeah, being scared will hold you, but it ain't gonna hold you forever. And then when you scared your whole life, then you get married. You can't all of a sudden just be unscared. Oh yeah, living in a place where sex is glorified. Sex is glorified in LA, and it's glorified all up and down our Instagram timeline and everything. It's you don't even have to look for it. It finds you. It finds you. And honestly, man, if we're being honest, and I'm married and I'm happily married, I've been to some churches where I'm like, I'm getting tempted in the church. Jesus. Why are y'all in church? Even dressed this way? I couldn't imagine being single. But the grace of God. Here's my suggestions for Mr. Black. He said, what's my suggestion for running away from it? Understand the true consequences of it. Your urges are going to be urges. You're built to want to have sex. So your urges aren't going to go away. Oh yeah, somebody said the church felt like addressing sex was approving sex. That's exactly right. I used this example when I was talking to my teens. You got to be practical with this sex stuff. You know you want to have sex. You know more than likely the person you're with wants to have sex. Okay? So I use the example of basketball. Oh, gosh. I'm going to just keep talking, man. I don't know what's wrong with my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is not working. Okay, it's about sitting down and knowing your real self. First thing you got to do is be real with yourself. No, my phone's not on D&D, but nobody's calling me. Nobody's texting me. You got to be real with yourself. People are like, oh, I'm not going to have sex. Listen, we put ourselves in a position. Look, I like to say this. Our genitals have no morals. Our penis, our vagina is not saved. Our penis and our vagina is not saved. They have no morals. So if you're a Christian, you're trying to live right, you got to put your immoral penis away. So it's about physically not putting yourself in a position to fail. You go into their house late at night, dark, alone, when you're already thinking about sex. What do you think's gonna happen? You ain't gonna bake a cake. You ain't gonna knit. You're leading yourself to have sex. Before Aunt got married, he dated a girl who was trying to protect her sexual morality, and they dated it only in the daytime. At dark, she was like, "You gotta go, I gotta go, because I don't trust myself at night. I'm right. I'm living right, and I don't trust myself, and I don't trust you." So that was it. Yeah, we put ourselves in the position to have sex and then be like, God, I don't want to have sex. You done did everything to give yourself the opportunity. I always say it's a basketball thing. If you were guarding Shaq, if you let Shaq get in the paint, he gonna just turn around and dunk the basketball. You got to deny. You got to push him out as far as possible. You got to stand in front of him. You got to block. Because once he gets the ball, it's gonna be a turnaround and a dunk, and there ain't gonna be much you can do about it. So, and another thing, it's about being with the right person that also agrees with what you agree. The thing about Melissa that helped me is Melissa was not trying to have sex as well. So when I was coming off I was having a lot of sex and stuff, it helped me to be with somebody who was really, truly living right. Because we out here getting with somebody who's also in the church, but they want to have sex too, and they ain't no help to you. You want to have sex, they want to have sex. We got to hold each other accountable. You got to be like, look, man, we got to be better. We got to do right. And that's what me and Melissa had to do. And it was hard for us even. I'm going to talk about that on another day, probably with Liz, not alone. But even if you're both trying to live right, it's still hard. So imagine how much harder it is if only one of you trying to live right. The other person ain't even thinking about God. You expect them to hold you accountable? Their accountability is sex. They want you to be accountable to these draws. They're just hoping for a slip up. They're just hoping you are down one day. Because once you mess up and slip one day, It's so much easier to slip again and again and again. Okay? So much harder. I hope I'm helping somebody. You got to get the right person. You got to be the right person. Study your word and put yourself in a position to win and not to fail. Because it ain't them cold showers. And when you're really horny, I'm just going to use the word horny because it's a real word. When you're really horny, that cold shower ain't doing nothing but making you cold. You get out and you just as horny as you were. You just cold. And you put a towel on, and you be dry. And now what? Gosh, now what? And mind you, this was before. I'm talking about before social media and phones. This is before you could receive a nude on your phone. Now you're horny and just like, oh, just warm now. They sending news and you like out here just, Jesus, I can't win. Now, them thoughts are coming. And not THOT, them real thoughts. Them thoughts are hard to do. You're always going to have the thought, but it's the action on the thought. Hot and bothered for the Lord. Oh. All right, y'all. I've enjoyed myself. I got to go. I got to spend some quality time with my family. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 in the morning. And I'll see y'all tomorrow night. God bless you. God keep you. We'll see you at the conference.